Thanks to the support as a channel member, CPO Williams 1. Folks, I just want to take a second to thank this episode's sponsor, Skillshare. Now, as I'm sure you already know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. You can explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. They have classes on all sorts of topics ranging from graphic design, film and video, through to creative writing, marketing, or web development. But at this time of year, there's only one type of class for me to recommend, because I know a lot of you are looking to get into content creation around the launch of the new game. And this is the class you should start with if that's the situation that you're in. YouTube Success, Script, Shoot and Edit with MKBHD. He is one of the top tier YouTube content creators, and this is very much a top tier Skillshare course. It takes you through everything from getting started on how to plan a video, how to record a video, editing, even uploading and growing your channel. It is a fantastic class. If you are looking to get into content creation, or maybe just give your existing content creation a boost at this time of year, that would be a very good class to start with. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, which means there's no ads, and they're adding new classes to the site all the time. And if you're one of the first 1,000 people to sign up using the link at the top of the description below, you can get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. So what are you waiting for, boys and girls? I've been using Skillshare for years. I've been working with them for over a year now. They really are a fantastic company, and you should go and support them and support me at the same time, because they're great. I'm great. Yeah? Links at the top of the description below. Promise you, you won't regret giving it a click. Hello and welcome to part 30 of Rebuilding Barcelona. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we go into the future. As you can see, we have holidayed forward to June 2030. So 5 years after the series, the save ended, and we just need to add a new manager so that we can take over again at Barcelona and have a proper dig into all of the club finances and stuff. Normally, I'd just use this as an unemployed manager, but I want to see exactly what's been going on here. And to do that, we need to be the club's manager so that we can see all of the finances and stuff like that. So let's, I mean, they're giving me a decent contract. That's very pleasant. 47 years old I'll be in 2030. That's hideous. So media prediction is first. So that suggests the club is still doing pretty well. And this is the best 11. So a lot of these players looking very familiar. Linda is now the goalkeeper. Baldi, Papetti, Delict, Rice, Pedri, Bellingham, Andrezinho on the right, but then there's a couple of unfamiliar faces in there as well. Really love the fact that Linda has taken over as goalkeeper. I said he would, and it looks like he has. So the club are looking for me to sign under 23s as before, work within the wage budget, spend the original transfer budget. Wow. What on earth has gone on with these club finances? I have never seen that as part of a 5-year plan before. Spend as much of the transfer budget made available at the start of the season as possible. This is like the reverse of the situation we were in at the beginning of the save. I need to see what's gone on with these finances. This is absolutely insane. They've got some money in the bank, boys and girls. A £462 million balance, still zero net debt, no loans at all. I mean, we fixed the finances, and the finances have stayed fixed. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. That's where we left in 2025 with, I think it was about 200-ish million in the bank, and the loans were being repaid. And obviously with the loans no longer going out, since then, the money continues to flow upwards. The financial projections looking very solid. Sponsorships have actually gone up. If you remember, the sponsorship that we had was 1 year kit sponsorship at a time on, I think, £78 million, whereas they've now got a near £1 billion 9-year general sponsorships. And I mean, I guess that's club and kit and everything, but it works out £96 million a year over 9 years. So that deal came into place at the end of my first season away from the club. So 4 years ago, over a 9-year contract, still another 5 years at £96 million a year. That is an insane amount of money to be bringing in. Obviously, financial fair play looking very solid as well. And just the club in general looking very healthy. 462 million in the bank, 165 million pounds worth of transfer budget that the club want rid of. They want that money spending. And this is really interesting, a £6 million wage budget. So that wage budget is double what we were working with, almost 3 times what we were working with at times during the save. And they're spending £5.6 million a week on wages whilst still remaining very, very profitable. I think we can certainly say we fixed this club when it comes to money and whatnot. Let's see how they've been getting on the pitch. Then we'll dig into the squad in a little more detail. So there was 1 year, one blip. So we won the league, those 4 in a row. The following season, they actually only finished second, but then it's been another 4 in a row since then. I was going to say, who's the manager now? Of course, the manager is currently me. We'll have a look to see who was the manager in a second. De Ligt as the captain, Declan Rice vice-captain. That they both make a lot of sense. Pedri is the key player. Again, making a lot of sense. So who took over from me as manager? Luis Enrique came in as manager and, like I say, missed out on the title the first time of asking, but then won it 4 times in a row. Has he won the Champions League again in there as well? It doesn't look like there's a Champions League win. We'll check in on the Champions League in a second. But 4 league wins and 7 cup wins in his 5 years at the club before I march back in again and take over, because that's how we do things around here. If we have a look at what the Champions League history has been like over these 5 years. So that's where we won it in the last episode yesterday. They then lost to Man United twice in a row, quarterfinal, then semi-final. Knocked out in the group stages that year. Wow. And then 2 more semi-final defeats. Again, Manchester United. Not a lot of luck with Manchester United at all. And then losing to Juventus in the semi-final there. So although still continuing to dominate Spain and looking very good financially, it is just the one Champions League win in that 9-year period. So not quite as dominant as maybe we would have expected. Let's have a look at what transfers have been going on since I left. So if we go back to my final season at the club, they've signed Youri Tielemans, which is one of the things I was going to do. So this was my last year. You can see just before the end, they did sneak through selling Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United for £102 million. That happened within a week of me leaving the club. We knew that might happen. We knew he wasn't going to renew his contract. He had 1 year left. To get £100 million plus for a player with a year left on his contract is a cracking piece of business. Realistically, probably could have done that before I left because I knew it needed doing. But Luis Enrique's come in and then basically done it for me and replaced him with a very cut price Youri Tielemans. There were times during this save where we were looking at Tielemans for 60 or 70 million pounds. So to pick up Tielemans for 25 million pounds is a bargain. And then, I mean, there's a lot of business that's gone on here. They didn't go for Zaniolo, who was the player that I wanted, but certainly investing a few quid in attacking midfielders there. Sané, Damsgaard coming in as well. There's a lot of business been done. Who else has left the club that summer? So clearing out our backup keeper, Ihataren went as well. Dest going to PSG for 30 million is an interesting one. Picking up some money for Verratti is nice. Yusuf Demir went to Liverpool for 95 million pounds, and Nonto went to Manchester United for 119 million. This is why they've got so much cash. I set them up with all these wonder kids that they're selling for mega money. Depay getting 35 million for him in the January window is good business as well. But really surprised to see Demir leave and Nonto leave in the same 12-month period as Frenkie de Jong has left as well, without necessarily a mega star coming in. It almost looks like, I mean, this looks like a transfer window I could have done during this save. It's a transfer window that's selling off the big superstars and replacing them with lower priced players. The only problem is I was replacing them with lower priced wonder kid players who could then be sold on for this. Whereas what they're doing here is bringing in players who are a little bit older. I mean, we're not going to be able to see what age they were when they signed, but Tielemans is 33 now. So he would have been 28, 29 when that transfer went through, which I guess at only £25 million, it's very similar to my Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain deal that I did early on. But there's no one there with major resale value. I don't think. This is where he went for a gazillion pounds a few years later when he went to Chelsea. And no, well, they didn't sell him at a loss, which is nice. Following season then, Ruben Neves coming in from Manchester United. Lots of transfers moving back and forth with Manchester United. Isaac's come in from Arsenal as well. And that's the guy who's the starting right back in the team now, Mert Mulder. He's the starting right back that we noticed where he's done a little bit of a tour as well. Goodness me, he's been around all over the place. Not so many big sales. That's Damsgaard leaving again. And none of the rest of our players left. Nico leaving on a free transfer to go to Mallorca. Wow. Okay. He played in the Champions League final. I mean, to be fair, he has recovered a little bit and gone to Valencia for 26.5 million. But for those of you who are trying to convince me to play him a little bit more during the save, there's an interesting thing. Also interesting, Alex Grimaldo going on loan for the season to Villarreal is really weird because he was awesome. He's now playing for Portsmouth in League One. How old is Alex Grimaldo now? At 34 years old, he's playing in the English League One for Portsmouth. I am troubled by this development. Greatly troubled by it because he was a superstar for us. Following season, Joe Gomez coming in for 48 million. Adans from Liverpool. That's 3 players. That's like 220 million pounds of a player in from Liverpool for 3 players. Gomez, Ibrahim Diallo, who is someone who kept coming up on my scout reports, but he was always a little bit too expensive for what he was by the time we were able to get him. I think when he was at Southampton, I mean, I don't remember him being available that cheap, but I decided not to go for him. But he came in for a year anyway, apparently. This guy, he's a new gen, a Brazilian new gen who's got 5-star current ability. He is a superstar left winger. I mean, he's very good, just very, very good. They've spent a lot of money on him, but at 24, he's only going to get better. Manchester City are now in for him. I would expect him to be sold on for a profit at some point. He would have been a teenager probably when he came in or close to. And this is the new striker who we noticed in the starting 11 at the start there. Gaz Brady, an English international striker who was at Southampton. And I mean, he's never scored spectacularly throughout his career, although at an average rating of 7.84, 13 goals from 17 appearances. That's not too bad now, especially for a 24-year-old. I'd expect his goal return to start increasing a little bit more. Maybe he's not quite quick enough for this match engine, but 3 goals from 12 England internationals for a Barcelona starter. As a striker, I'd expect more of a return from him, really. Other players moving on. Sula going to Leipzig for 14.5 million. Grimaldo was loaned out again. Gavi went to Monaco on loan. Is he still knocking around the place? He's now playing for Southampton. So Gavi and Grimaldo, both on the south coast of England. At least Gavi's playing in the Premier League, but again, not playing at a mega high level. I just don't think we got a supercharged version of him. Although I know a lot of you will say, Kev, it's because you didn't play him when he was young. Couldn't fit him in the team when he was young. Sané moving on after not really playing very much. Marcos Leonardo, the young Brazilian striker that we brought in. 17 caps for Brazil now. Is not too shabby. He never really got a breakthrough with Barcelona. He scored 6 goals that season and then ended up going to Leipzig and then on to Dortmund, where he looks like he's having a lot of fun scoring goals in Germany. But I mean, it's just a solid piece of business. Bring him in, sell him on a profit. I can get on board with that. Alexander Isak going to Manchester City at a big loss. See, that's a transfer I never would have done. This is when you know the wheels are coming off. It might not be showing yet, but old habits are starting to resurface. Bringing players in on big money, not really using them and selling them on for not a lot. And Pedro Porro moving on is an interesting one as well, because I wouldn't have moved him on. I mean, I guess they brought in Mulder to use in that position. And then Gradiol coming in to play at centre-back as well. But he came in, didn't play very much, sold on at a loss like 18 months later. That is a start of a slippery slope that they need to be a little bit aware they don't fall too far into. Following season, we're getting caught up with real time now. Reguilon coming in from Tottenham. Lots of names I don't recognise at this point, and I don't want to make myself look like an idiot by not knowing if they're new gens or not. But yeah, there you go, a new gen. Whew. Lots of new gens starting to come through, which I guess is good. They're focusing on signing the younger players, and you can see some of these players who were brought in being sold on again for not very much money. Juan Carlos Reyes going to PSG for £107 million. It shows he was a good one. We bought him for 1.6 million and he's sold on for 107 million. It took him a while to get into the team. He only had 1 season playing regularly for the Barcelona first team at 23 years old, and that was enough to justify PSG spending over £100 million on him. They have got too much money, boys and girls. And then the most recent season, again, not spending massive, but also not really selling massive either. It looks like it's a pretty settled team, a pretty settled squad now, although the board are putting some pressure on, trying to get the club to sell some players. So who are the best players at the club now? Andrezinho has developed into an absolute superstar, 5-star current ability. Look at the amount of money he's on. But 5-star current ability, 46 caps for Portugal, still only 23, still qualifies for Young Player of the Year. He is a goal scorer as well from the right-hand side of midfield. They are some impressive goal returns from Andrezinho. He was well worth dropping that £59 million on. It seems they like a left winger here. Adams is the Brazilian, so they've got Adams on one side, Andrezinho on the other. Ansu Fati didn't need him. Go to Man City. It's fine. You weren't needed. Pedri, still knocking around the place. Not with a €1 billion release clause, I don't think. Shall we check? But all the same, he seems to be enjoying life at Barcelona. I'd love to see how Anton Linda has developed into presumably one of the best goalkeepers in the world at this point. 57 caps for Sweden, £275,000 a week. He displaced ter Stegen in goal like a year and a half after I left the club. He did look close to ready and has been the starting keeper for the last 3 years. Lovely. Mokoko's still there. How did he get on? 25 years old now, 37 goals for Germany. Never really scoring as fluently as I was led to believe he would. That 24-goal season is a good one, but I think they're pretty much still playing the way I was playing, where you have that central striker more as a pivot point for the inside forwards either side of him, with the two best players at the club being out on either wing and Mokoko in the middle, basically allowing them to play off him. Baldi is still here. I think Baldi very much killed Grimaldo. 51 caps for Spain. Played regularly pretty much since my last season. He came into the team regularly, and he's finished Grimaldo off. De Ligt is still here at 30 years old. I mean, it shows how good this team is now that De Ligt is a 4.5-star current ability player and does he make it into the top 10 players at the club? It's close. Jude Bellingham, similar situation. Only 26. He was a Ballon d'Or nominee when I was at the club, and he's now the 10th best player at the club. And it's not that he's gotten worse. He's still having incredible season after season after season. He's got 80 England caps already. It's just a very, very good football club now. Pepetti's developed nicely. Declan Rice still knocking around the place, having developed nicely. Timothy Van Haren, 57 caps for Belgium at 23 years old, and he's playing regularly as well. I mean, I struggle to find a player that was a miss, really. Tielemans at 33 is still here. Joe Gomez still knocking around. Tactically, I want to see what tactics they've been using. Presumably, they've carried on with the 4-3-3. Yeah, 4-3-3 with a DM wide. Let's see the team for Juventus in the Champions League semi-final. This is likely to be the first team. So, yeah, Mokoko at front, Adams and Andrezinho out wide, Bellingham, Pedri and Rice in midfield. I mean, that's your forever midfield. That's why you can sell De Jong and not care, because that is the best midfield in the game. I'm certain of it. Baldi, Papetti, De Ligt, Linda. These are all my boys. I mean, 5 years on, and a lot of transfer business. The only starters in that Champions League semi-final that I didn't sign, Mulder and Adams. Oh, I guess I didn't actually sign Pedri and Baldi either, but they were my boys. So the only two that didn't play for me, Mulder at right back, who we saw that Porro and Dest both left, so he's just a direct replacement for him. And Adams, I mean, this was a route I was going down anyway. I was going to bring in Zaniolo to play on either wing. They've decided to go another way and bring in probably an even better option, but that's certainly the one position that I had identified as I wanted another winger. It wasn't necessarily going to be a left winger, because in my mind, Nonto was going to be on the left, but Andrezinho has obviously developed better than Nonto did, but Pedri was always moving into central midfield for me. And that is awesome. I love the fact that we fixed the club. They've stayed fixed. They've continued to do really, really well. Did I make it onto the favoured personnel list or anything? I'm just on the bottom of the favoured personnel list with Leroy Sané. I think was only here for a year. 3 years. Okay, I'll allow it. But boys and girls, that is Barcelona 5 years later. If you've enjoyed that video, if you've enjoyed that series, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. FM22 is right on the horizon now, so make sure you subscribe with notifications on for that. And thank you very much for watching.